What's going on? It's Matt from Talking Wolves, and Matt from the Magpie channel has asked me to come on, give you a bit of a preview about the upcoming game on Sunday, how Wolves have been, how the Europa League's affected us, and my thoughts on Newcastle and obviously the mishaps that have happened during the summer. Wolves have had a good start, to be honest. If you'd have asked me this 3 weeks ago, I would have been a little bit worried. We started the season at the end of June. The Europa League qualifiers. We'd already played like 9 games before the season had even started. We played Crusaders, Punic, and that tough clash away in Italy in Torino, and we came through those with flying colours. It did affect us in the league, to be honest. We started the season very slow, very sluggish. Kind of looked out of ideas. We lost to Everton away, which was poor. We got a good result against Man United at home, but we weren't grinding out results like we were last season, and people were saying, the proverbial, is the Europa League too much for them? And the answer at the minute, I'd have to say, is no. The run of form we've been on the past 3 weeks, so if you take a couple of weeks ago, for instance, we beat Watford, we went to Besiktas, Turkey, tough place to go, beat them, and then beat the current champions, Manchester City, on their own soil, and we absolutely battered them. We played them off the park, they had no answers. But then we hit a little bit of a lull against Southampton. Some poor defensive errors gifted them a goal, and we drew 1-1. And I think it was a fair result. So form has been up and down, inconsistent. But we're now starting to look like the team we did of old last season. And to be honest, last season it took quite a while for us to bed in. I remember a tough period in November last season when Nuno nearly got the sack. We didn't win in 5, so it's. We seem to come over that period again from this season, and we are looking to kick on. The Europa League's been brilliant. Some Wolves fans say, we didn't want the Europa League, it's too soon. You simply cannot dictate when you have European football. As you Newcastle fans know, you'd probably kill for it. It didn't seem too long ago. You're in the Champions League and stuff like that. So it's been brilliant. I've been to all the home games, not managed to get to an away game yet, but we have got Braga booked in. And I can't wait to see my boyhood team, little old Wolverhampton. I was supporting them in League One 4 or 5 years ago, and to see them in Europe now after the first season in the Premier League it makes me feel warm inside, honestly. So it's brilliant. Europa League is a fantastic competition to be in. I think the further we go in that, the more it will affect our league position. But for me, if we finish between 10th and 13th and qualified out of the group, got to the knockout stage to Europa League, it'd be a fantastic season for me. We've got a very small squad. Nuno likes that. He likes a close-knit squad. However, a few injuries and we're on our backs. So we have had a few injuries recently. Ryan Bennett has been injured. Who else? Neves has had a couple of knocks. Jota the same. So again, that close-knit squad is all well and good when you're not picking up injuries like we didn't last season, but this season we have. So you could argue that the Europa League has taken its toll there, but just an influx in games, you're gonna pick up these little niggles and these little strains. But I think we've got a game Thursday. I don't know when this is going out, but it's 3 days before the Newcastle game against Bratislava away. Now they're top of their league in Slovakia. They're a good side, but again, it's those miles, it's the travelling, the coming back, then straight up to Newcastle. It's going to take its toll on the squad, but we've got a very, very good team. Some good experienced players, some good youngsters. So I'd still do fancy us coming to Newcastle. It's one of those places, it used to be a fortress, but I think we've won the last 2 times we've been there. It's not as much as a fortress as it once was. Which is a shame, really, because I don't mind Newcastle. Obviously, Matty's a massive Newcastle fan, and I see all the work that he does, and see how passionate the fans are, especially the fan cams after the games, and that's a sign of a proper football club for me. That passion. But again, I can see us nicking a point or even a win. But it all depends what Newcastle turns up, doesn't it? I mean, recently you've had some major scalps in Manchester United and Tottenham, who I work for. No Tottenham fan could have saw that coming in. He had a game plan and you stuck to it well. So credit to Bruce on that one. I think that's something you have to give him a little bit of credit for, those 2 games. But then you take the rough with the smooth, don't you? Then you have some terrible performances at the start of the season. So I think the decision to get rid of Rafa was a poor one. Rafa's tactically one of the best, especially defensive managers in the league, and he's a huge asset. So to lose him is obviously going to have a knock-on effect on the squad and this season. I think Bruce is in there as a bit of a yes man. I think Ashley brought him in. He knows he's a big Geordie, and it's going to be an honour and a privilege to manage the club. But I think Ashley's going to see that as a big green tick in the yes man column. I can see him lasting to the end of the season. I can see him keeping you up, but apart from that, I can't see Newcastle really kicking on this season and kind of progressing, especially with the squad you've got. You have got some good players, but then you've also got quite a lot of deadwood. And although you have spent quite a bit of money in the summer, it's still yet to pay dividends, really. I mean, Joe Linton looks a decent player, but he needs to start scoring a few more goals. But that's going to come. He's new to the league. You got to give him time. But yeah, the decision to sack Rafa was an absolutely outrageous one. But we probably don't know all the behind the scenes stuff, what's going on, especially with Ashley being so underhand. But yeah, that's the preview. I reckon Wolves will get a result there, whether that be a draw or a win. But make sure you keep supporting Matty. He runs a fantastic channel, works his socks off, and he's a really good lad. So keep supporting the Magpie channel and make sure you like and subscribe.